Police.
Terve. Yes, I just called a moment ago, but I was unable to be connected with the person handling my case. But I'd like to be connected then to somebody else who can.
Okay, one moment, please.
Nieminen.
Terve. Utko Englanti?
Puhun.
Yes. So I have received a letter from the police,
Okay.
which I imagine what it is about, but I would like to make sure.
Okay.
So the case, you want the case number?
Yeah, just a moment. Okay, it starts with 5680 and then comes
R.
S or A. Okay, R.
42399/21.
Yes. And your name was?
Eric Wizens.
Okay.
0609852203L.
Just a moment. Okay, it seems that your ex-wife has made a report to police, and police has decided not to start investigation.
Well, the police officer that phoned me, said I had a right to refuse the claims being dropped and to be interviewed. Because in my view, this case has been filed in bad faith to intimidate me to drop claims about, in particular, money laundering as part of other claims that were sent through the courthouse. And not really my ex-wife, but her lawyer collaborating with the company lawyer, who turns out to be secretly the lawyer of one of the equity investors, who has undisclosed connections to the other equity investor, who I accuse of laundering money.
Okay.
So when you the whole point of the law that allows me, and the police officer calls me to say I've been suspected of a crime, and explains I have the right to refuse the investigation being closed. And she said that she was doing the pretrial investigation, but now since the claims were dropped, and why were the claims dropped? Because I pointed out what's that going to accomplish is that I'm interviewed for the case, and then being questioned by police is much different than me going for the police for all sorts of non-disclosure and such reasons. So you make claims. You make claims to intimidate me, right? For months, I'm told, then police is coming after me, etc. I'm facing these criminal claims, etc. For months, I'm intimidated. And then the police officer explains, I can refuse the case being closed. And she says she's doing the pretrial investigation. She doesn't say that they have not decided to investigate. She says I've been suspected for a crime, and she's stopping the pretrial investigation because the parties are dropping the claims. Yeah. And then she explains I can refuse that, which I do. And that's Friday. Then the next Monday, she writes to me that her boss says I can't be interviewed. Like the phone call with the police officer, senior constable, literally ends with her saying, I'm going to send you an email with times you can come in to be questioned. Okay. Then Monday, she emails me that her boss, she had her talk to her boss, and they won't interview me, not because of a legal reason, not because I don't have the right, but because it's never been done before. Well, everything that happens for the first time, like philosophy 101. Suddenly, you guys expect me to believe that you people don't have advanced degrees and basic common sense and so on. As soon as it touches money laundering, suddenly common sense is out the window. So, and then even crazier, I have a lawyer for a lawsuit that my landlords are suing me.
Okay.
Which is related to this case, because the company was renting part of the house, and then the company moved out after all this insanity emerged, and then the landlords rented the whole house to somebody else. But there was two separate contracts, so this is related but separate. Whatever. I try to have a phone call with my lawyer.
Case, yes.
Yeah. The point is, I'm like, well. I email back the police like, what are my rights? You explained me Friday my rights are one thing. Now you're saying I can't, and you're going to I can come in to be interviewed, and then the next day or the next business day, Monday, you say I can't. So what are my rights? And tell it to my lawyer Kia, who's handling this lawsuit. I think totally reasonable. They then the police then phoned Kia's boss, who I had one meeting with, and who made it perfectly clear he wasn't taking my case with all this company, corporate and money laundering things. And that it was just pure coincidence that like 3 days before, or maybe not exactly 3 days, but some days before, I had a meeting with Jari Hutti, Kia's boss, to explain my all these complex corporate things and whatever. And then he said he's not taking the case, he's going to make a proposal. And by coincidence, the police phoned me in the next days. Then I tried to call Kia, tried to talk to Kia, get advice from a lawyer. I think that's pretty much, even if she's on this rent thing, I think it's better than no advice. Then the police phoned Jari and decided to close the case on my behalf, and Jari then writes that it's in my interest to close the case. Like there's zero sign, no attorney-client privilege, no power of attorney signed at all with Jari. He's the one who said he's not taking the case because obviously, if I don't agree with how he wants to handle the money laundering issue and all that, maybe he won't take the case, which is fine. I go find another attorney that I agree with. Like, totally fine that he doesn't take the case, but completely outrageous and illegal to then represent me to the police. And even if he was my attorney, he'd have to phone me to be like, well, please phone me. What do you want me to do? Right? For an attorney to just act against the stated interest of their client, right? Well, you need to go to court and say the client is irrational and et cetera, and there's a whole process to do that. And is that even plausibly remotely credible? I'm the CEO, managing director, chair of a corporation for over 10 years. Suddenly I don't know what my interests are? And it's important. I've been first in this specific thing. I've been suspected of a crime. I've not been exonerated. They've just they've dropped the case saying, oh, I've stopped messaging them. Well, I stopped messaging them because I stopped the negotiation. Right? The police officer is not even able to explain what crime I've committed. She says, word for word, you have been suspected of the crime of sending too many messages. I asked, well, is it a crime in itself to send too many messages without any reference to the content of those messages? Business correspondence makes a lot of messages. I'm the biggest shareholder emailing and messaging the directors of the corporation about legal issues. It's completely legitimate business correspondence. Like if you want to do business and you have a business issue, you're going to get correspondence about that. If you don't want that, you can resign from the board. Okay, resign from the board. Now if I keep messaging you about it, okay, that could be harassment, even if regardless of the quantity of messages. But if you're board director, managing director, CEO of a firm, and you're getting messages about legal matters from the biggest shareholder or anybody with legitimate business, you can't go to the court and make up a crime that sending messages is too many. And that in conversations they participate in, they respond to. It's not like I'm sending thousands of messages forever or whatever without a conversation. We're negotiating in a negotiation that they started. So this whole thing, right? I brought up this money laundering, which is completely easily past the bar of reasonable suspicion, involving the ex-president of Angola, right, and a colonel moving a deal through in Angola, involving a guy who accidentally I got an email about where he explained he's suspected of money laundering, and the Norwegians are holding up some money. So, then the company lawyer turns out to be the personal lawyer of one of the equity investors. Right, so this is whole thing.
Listen to me for a while, please. Okay.
Well, I'm saying it because because I believe this call is recorded. I'm recording it, so there's a record.
Okay.
Me telling it to the police, because I've tried to contact like months ago. I tried to contact the Finnish Bureau of Investigation. I don't know. You go online, it says the Finnish Bureau of Investigation handle money laundering, but they tell me to go get an attorney and analyze and file the claims. The first attorney just refuses to file the claims. He just says, "I have been hired to file the claims," and he quits. Like, what? Like, and there's nothing else to do with money laundering but file the claims, and then you guys decide what to do about it. It's not my job. My job as a corporate person is to file suspicious activity. Like, and attorneys refuse to do it, and then this new guy, Yadi, he tells me that police don't have competence to investigate money laundering, and he doesn't know what institution to address to. Like, what? So
sounds weird.
Well, because the company lawyer decided to, instead of just, when I brought up money laundering, what the company lawyer should do is stay neutral instead of threatening me with shareholder agreement stuff, which the company can't even threaten me about. You have to be a shareholder to bring shareholder issues, and you have to bring it to arbitration. He threatens me with temporary court injunctions and such, right? He hasn't started arbitration. So I don't know, he thinks I'm an idiot and I can be just intimidated, and now he's acting on behalf of somebody I accuse of money laundering. What's that? Even if there isn't money laundering, now it's money laundering anyways. What's money laundering? Obliterating the original circumstances of legal circumstances of property transfer. So if the company lawyer starts threatening me, intimidating me, trying to pressure me to sign severance with €1 million bribe, and just defrauding me, like claiming things that cannot possibly be true in issues that the company lawyer has to stay neutral about, well, the company lawyer now is laundering money, even if there wasn't any original money laundering. And obviously, crazy issue for him. So other attorneys, okay, they want to be nice to their colleagues. But well, at some point, if you're nice to your attorney colleagues above the interest of your client, well, now you're money laundering too, and then the auditor, and so on. So, okay, it becomes a big mess, and now everybody's conflict of interest and compromise. And now the police don't want to look into it. Why? Because Finland's a close-knit community and so on, and they don't want attorneys and etc. to go down. And the problem is when it's the ex-president of Angola, which you can look up right now, Google ex-president of Angola, money laundering, and you will arrive on an article called The Money Laundering Paradox, which explains exactly what I'm talking about. Laundering money through network of suppliers and contractors. And what our role was to provide engineering documents that made it plausibly credible. But this project in Angola could not physically be built, and I started to be like, what? Like, brainstorming in business is okay as long as it's brainstorming, and the next step is raise investment and develop more. No problem. But going from brainstorming to we're going to build a €50 million plant in Angola in 18 months, right? Okay. It's just not credible business. And as soon as it was clear they're getting licenses to build this, they're transferring money around to build this, it cannot possibly be built. So then, and I was supposed to, it was clear that we were kind of in the dark, just like they would just phone us and be like, oh, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And get us to just guess about engineering numbers. Well, okay, I can guess, but you can't put that in a document saying that guess is the truth. So when I discovered that, I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's like either bad faith business that they're using us to get the license and then they'll just sell the license immediately afterwards, right? Or then it's money laundering. Like I have not given permission for this case to be closed. And that's when you do bad faith criminal claims, that's the risk you take. Is that the police, now the investigation started, maybe it uncovers evidence that you've committed a crime. So okay, don't tell. And police seem to keep pretending money laundering is not a non-violent crime or whatever, not worth their time. Completely false. Money laundering finances terrorism. That's literally called the Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorism Act. It finances narcotics. It finances human trafficking, finances assassinations, finances corruption that leads to famine all around the world. So the idea, the constable, I explained this, this accusation against me is to intimidate me to shut up about money laundering. And then the police says, okay, you can come in for questioning. And then Monday, no. So it's not just weird. It's called corruption. It's called covering up for buddies.
Okay.
For this attorney, because the attorney, Ava's attorney, like, I have no issue with my ex-wife. She's just doing what her attorneys tell her to do, right? But her attorney, because she told me, working with the company attorney against me. Company attorney has to be neutral. And these accusations, the attorney cooperating with the company attorney, who turns out to be the attorney of Arto Leitonen, with the other equity investor, right? Well, that's just obvious conspiracy to intimidate me through Ava, because it didn't work through the company, because like the shareholder things, arbitration, and the company, it would have to be a shareholder that brings claims against me. It can't be the company, and no shareholder is going to spend their own money. So it doesn't intimidating me with the company lawyer didn't work. So then they intimidate me through my ex-wife's lawyer. And so and then talking to the prosecutor to make up a crime that doesn't even exist. Why? Because Ava's lawyer knows that if she submits the contents of the emails, talking about money laundering, talking about bribery, extortion, etc., all of these related crimes to cover up money laundering, the police are going to be like, well, this doesn't seem like harassment. It seems like legitimate, legal concerns. So they make up a crime that sending two messages is not a crime. And when I pointed that out, the police officer doesn't say, oh yeah, it actually is a crime. She says, oh, you're suspected. She rephrases that I'm suspected of just breaching the whole Communications Act. Well, you can't be suspected of just breaching the vague reference to the law. You need an actual clause.
Okay,
so what in the law says
listen to me
too many
while,
messages?
Okay,
yeah, okay, I've said my thing. I've said my piece.
Yes.
And it's recorded. And this is with the police. This is with the police. So this is first time, well, other than the previous time, but that police officer didn't let me record the call. She said I couldn't.
Okay.
So...
Okay.
And then she said I can't record the call, but okay, I can come in for official interview. That's totally fine. But saying I can't record the call, then the next Monday I can't be coming to interview either. That is not fine. So now I'm recording it.
Always record. Okay, you can always record your call.
Thanks.
If you like.
Well,
okay,
why did the police officer say I couldn't? I said, can I record the call? I want to record the call. She said no.
Well, next time don't ask. But my English is not so that good. I could understand everything you said. But in this case, as you called me and first time about this Eva's report to police, it is ended. Investigation has ended because Eva has said that she don't want investigation go anymore further. So you understand?
The police officer said I can refuse that.
Yes, I don't know if he or she, but the investigator doesn't decide what is the future of the case will be. It's the head of investigation who decides. And now in this case, the head of investigation has decided not to continue the investigation.
Just because it hasn't been done before. Like you guys don't need a legal reason.
That's the most important. We need a legal reason, of course.
Well, the only reason I've been told first, whoever this head of investigation is was not in copy of the thing and not named. Just the police officer I talked to then emails me saying her boss. So I assume this head of investigation, her boss, is ending it because it's not been done before. Is that a legal reason that something's not been done before?
I don't understand what means it not been done before. I don't know.
Well, you tell me. Like it's not usual. It's unusual for somebody to.
No. This is the decides and decisions we make every day. Everything has been done before, and that's no reason for anything.
That's the only phrase that is given. That is the only phrase that is given. Friday, I'm said you can refuse the closing of the investigation, and I will give you times to come in for questioning. That's Friday. Monday morning.
So but the head of investigation decided the other way. So you didn't had to come.
But what is the reason? You just said everything has to have a legal reason.
Because the reason is that Eva informed police that she don't have demands anymore in this case, and it is okay that police ends this investigation.
That's not what that's not what is stated. They say they're ending it because it hasn't been done before. Then I say, well, what are my rights? Clarify my rights.
I don't understand. What is...
That's what they say. They just say one sentence.
Okay.
It's unusual and they haven't been done before, so they're ending it. That's okay. I respond to that. Well, what are my? You tell me just 3 days before my rights are. I can refuse it being closed and come in for questioning and be questioned about it, right? And then they don't respond to that. They just talk to somebody who is not even my attorney, who then says the new reason given is that it's in my interest that the case be closed. That's what they then say. Well, it's not in my interest that the case be closed.
I have a proposal to you. Maybe you should get a new lawyer. And
obviously, I'm getting a new lawyer, but that takes time. Obviously, I'm getting a new lawyer. That takes time. But and I've already talked to the justice. I've already talked to the justice commissioner. I've already talked to the justice commissioner. For like an hour and a half about all this and so on, and also the courthouse. And they recommend I just come in to the police station and insist on being interviewed about all this, and the police can't stop me. So that's what I'm going to do. But this particular thing, this letter, right? There's already a police investigation started, and I filed police claims. One of my email being accessed with logs from Switzerland, log entries from Switzerland in my email. I don't know. Police haven't caught it. I filed that in the summer. Police haven't phoned me about it. And then I filed this blackmail and extortion of the person I alleged to be money laundering, blackmailing me and extorting me to try to shut me up, and have permanent legal leverage against me. He claims wasn't a legitimate CEO for 2 years. What does that mean? Committing fraud for 2 years. And he says if it ever gets discovered, nobody will ever invest, and my reputation will be ruined, and the company will be damaged. So, I filed this months ago. I haven't gotten one call from the police. The only call I've gotten police is about these retaliatory claims.
Okay, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, can you look it up? Maybe you can tell me something about that. Because, and anyways, on all of these things, it's criminal proceedings, and I think I have a right for translations in English. So I would like all of these criminal documents translated into English. And just to be clear, the Act says I shouldn't need to know those language rights. The police know I don't speak Finnish or Swedish, so should be sending me translations.
Okay.
So, and the other one, the paper I got shutting down, saying there would be no pretrial investigation about the blackmail and defamation and extortion and bribery and so on, which I clearly state is related to money laundering. I know it's long, and I imagine it's just more total bullshit. And I've talked to the Justice Commissioner for a lot. Well, the Secretary of the Justice Commissioner. Nobody who's actually concerned about money laundering thinks this isn't a serious issue. Likewise, the Justice Department, I talked to the person in charge of anti-corruption policy. Unfortunately, the policy of Finland is there is no corresponding agency with operational mandate for anti-corruption. But anyways, he explained a lot about all of these issues, and again, nobody who does not have a personal, a buddy or whatever that they're trying to get off money laundering issues thinks it's not serious, right? And you look at money laundering paradox, right? Like the Brookings Institute, some economist journalist, right? Article exactly what I'm describing. Billions of euros, and what's the paradox is how is so much money laundered through rich countries with a reputation of not being such as the Nordics and Switzerland and so on? That's the paradox. How does all this money flow through rich, developed countries that should have robust anti-money laundering measures?
Okay. There's nothing I can do right now at phone, but my proposal is that you get a new lawyer who speaks English and Finnish, so we can talk with Finnish with this your new lawyer, and I'm quite sure everything will be fixed out quite well.
Okay, well, if in the I don't know. Just no, I don't like. From what I understand, right, the police make this decision, I have a right to challenge it. And I'm pretty sure I have a right to follow in.
No,
and
you are the victim of the crime, which there was no crime at all when you sent it emails to Eva. So there's no chance.
No, I'm victim. I'm now victim. I'm victim. No, I
you are
first,
now okay. No,
I can be. I can seek full exoneration. Right? When you make an accusation against somebody, it's not for pretend or for play, or I'm going to make this accusation and then put pressure on you, and then okay, if you don't agree to my deal, whatever, I just take him away and it disappears. That's not how it works. The law, I don't know. The law is, I think, a lot more serious than police seem to be saying. You make making criminal accusations. I've been suspected of a crime. That's incredibly stressful. I think it's relevant for the police to be sure that the claims were made credibly, especially by an attorney. An attorney should know if they're going to make claims about messages, they have to submit the evidence of those messages. Not doing so, and the prosecutor allowing that is...
You should do a new report.
I will. I'm going to be coming into the police station and making all of the reports, etc. But I'm pretty. But the idea that no one one has any power, no one can be proactive. That I can be harassed with the law. I got to go to the courthouse to pick up crazy bullshit, intimidation claims, 300,000 euros of shareholder claims, and so on from the company attorney who cannot make those claims, and then be under investigation and pending criminal claims and so on for months, and told I'm guilty of harassment, and so on, and then the police phoning me and so on. Right? I think that you should be concerned if the the law is being abused and used as a tool of intimidation. That's also defrauding you guys, defrauding the police, defrauding the justice system. This is a crime also against you guys. Undermines the credibility and integrity of law enforcement. And if this investigator got together with somebody who's not even my attorney, Yari made it clear he wasn't taking my case. And if he did take my case, he's got to phone me and get permission before acting. So the prosecutor or the lead investigator, whoever, getting together with Yari to make decisions. That's what they said. They said they had a phone call and they decided to close the case for my own interest somehow.
Okay.
Right. That should concern you.
I can't help you.
No, you can't. Well,
I don't have even time to do this anymore.
Well, who can? Who's in charge of anti-corruption? Because the anti-corruption guy in the Justice Department says there is nobody with an anti-corruption mandate. So is the idea that the police can just be as corrupt as they want and there's nothing that can be done about it?
You can make a report in police. That's
going to be handled by this same guy. That's going to be handled by this same lead investigator.
Police decides what we will do. No one is going to say what to do. But you can do it by internet. Yeah, but like I already done that with my previous claims. Nobody phones me. Yeah.
No, like months goes by. Nobody phones me. Yeah. Like I don't even get a call. I'm talking about money laundering, extortion, bribery, etc. I don't even get a call.
Yeah. Okay.
So this doesn't seem a credible process. What you're describing, it doesn't seem a credible process. I went to the police station first. I went to the police station explaining I'm facing this bribery and extortion to get me to shut up about money laundering, right? And that's what they said. They told me the same thing you just told me. File it in the internet. And I said I want to file it now. I had the evidence in my hand, the first bribery and extortion and so on. I gave it to the police. They give it back to me.
Yeah.
And then they say and I explain to them. They agree that it looks like a crime. And then they say, well, file it in the police station, and there will be a pretrial investigation. Well, I file it. In good faith. Okay, please tell me to do this. In good faith, I file it. I file it.
Okay.
And nothing happens. Nothing happens. So at some point, you have a boss, you have power, you have a boss. The idea that nobody can do anything, it's somebody else's job, etc. Especially when it comes to money laundering. Read the Money Laundering Act. Now you know about the money laundering, and the Money Laundering Act applies to you too. So at some point, failing to act is helping the people laundering money. So, and this is the thing, like it's Anti-Terrorism and Money Laundering Act. The civil authority the elected civil authority is continuously annoyed by the legal
listen.
community helping to launder money, and they pass law after law, strengthening the language and so on, until now, right? And what's my terrorism, human trafficking, child rape industry, etc., etc., etc. So reporting money laundering should be logically equivalent to these serious violent crimes. Well, this is all recorded, so if you think you've done your job and the police have done their job, there's nothing of particular concern to look into or have your boss look into or whatever, then okay, well, we'll see later.
Okay, thank you. Bye.